Hello there, and welcome back to Anatomy 101. Some of you guys are a little bit confused on how the human body works, in particular, the legs. Let's take a look, shall we? If you move your upper thigh muscle, you can actually twist it back and forth like that. Now, it's not 180 degrees like an action figure, but remember, it is an action figure, right? Move your thigh, twist it back and forth. I'm not even moving my foot, but do you see how my lower leg moves and my foot when I move my thigh back and forth? You know what I can't do? I can't rotate my knee. Even doing that, I'm rotating my upper thigh, bro. Look.
No.
I mean, I got the hinge. I do have a hinge.
Dude, single joint?
But even, rotating, I'm moving my thigh. You can't do that without your thigh.
Bro doesn't have...
You can move your foot.
Bro doesn't have knee swivel?
Bro, no rotation at the knee. You literally,
And as we can clearly see here, clear as day, there is nothing wrong with the removal of thigh swivel. My fellow collectors, men and women, and the children, it's time for a Black Series State of the Union. What's up, everyone? I'm Nate, joined with Justin.
What's up, guys?
And today here on Figure It Out, we are going to be talking about the importance of thigh swivel.
Yes, why so many of you are wrong.
You're wrong, we're right, get over it.
I can't wait for people to take that completely seriously, Nate.
Oh, they absolutely are going to.
Yeah, so hit like, subscribe if you are new. We are always talking about the Black Series here on the channel. The idea behind this video stems from the recent trend of about a year and a half, I would say, of Hasbro cutting out a lot of thigh swivel, thigh cut on a lot of their modern Star Wars Black Series figures, which we take as a massive negative. It's kind of been our campaign the past 6-7 months, I would say.
Yeah, because there's definitely been a significant drop in just range of motion in the figures, particularly at the hip. There are some good examples without the thigh cut, but more often than not so far, I feel like it's been a detriment to all of the figures that do not have the thigh cut.
Yeah, so we just have a few bullet points to run through, and then we're actually going to jump behind the camera review style with both of us.
Dude,
because it's time for the Google Gaga, we need visuals here.
You're going to be in the review station.
I am, because there's just been so many comments and people in the Discord trying to debate it, and Twitter and Instagram, and I'm just we need to put the final nail in the coffin here.
Right. So let's get something straight right off of the bat. We do care a lot about thigh swivel, but at the end of the day, is it actually a deal breaker? No. We're not quitting the Black Series.
Right. We're just advocating for it to get better.
Yes, of course. This is simply us advocating for change for the better. We want more articulation. We don't want less articulation.
Yes, which that brings us into one of the first points, is that it is objectively less articulation. You are removing a point of articulation.
Yep.
So just that is an objective truth. You should be able to physically see it with your own eyeballs when you try to articulate the legs. And it's a lower piece count. I mean, that is a piece of articulation that is now missing. It has been taken away. It is less articulation.
And let's keep in mind, too, we've had this point of articulation since the very beginning of the line in 2013. It has been standard throughout.
Yes.
There's really no reason, I feel like, to get rid of it at this point. It was doing nothing other than its intended purpose, which is to give the leg more natural movement.
Right. And it, like you said, it was borderline universal. Almost every single figure used to have it, all the way back in 2013, all the way up to like 2023 is when they started doing it, taking away thigh swivel, I mean. And I feel like since we've had it for over a decade, there's no reason to take it away.
Yep.
Because again, it's less articulation, and we'll get into the visuals later when we get behind the camera.
We have to have a balance the scales moment here,
Of
too,
course.
of course.
Yes.
Because randomly, in a weird twist of fate, new sculpted vintage collection figures are now, they have thigh swivel now.
TVC, they added thigh swivel.
So
What is happening?
I have the brand new Snow Trooper right here. This is a great little vintage collection figure here, but you're telling me they get thigh swivel now and we can't have it. The 6-inch line Black Series, which is character focused, figure focused.
Spit.
You're telling me we get less articulation than the scale that's intended purpose is to just stand there and serve as a piece of world building?
Right. With the dioramas, the play sets, the vehicles, like you said, all the different world building elements that they get. And just to hammer that point home further, Black Series is a character driven line. You would think the articulation would be miles better than TVC, because it's a bigger scale, probably easier to engineer it because you have a little bit more room to work with compared to the little tiny little 3 3/4 inch figures. Absolutely insane to me. You can look as near as Night Sister Marin. The Black Series one, they took away the thigh swivel. The TVC one, it has thigh swivel. The TVC has an additional point of articulation that Black Series doesn't have. Borderline superior figure, even from an engineering standpoint, which is nuts.
Yeah. It especially gets confusing when, as far as we understand as well from everything that we've heard about the industry itself, is that vintage collection figures basically cost the same to produce as Black Series figures.
Right.
So you're telling me they both basically cost the same, but for some reason, to use the Marin example again, we get thigh swivel and an alt hand in vintage collection for Marin, but we can't get those two things in Black Series, even though it's allegedly basically the same cost.
Right. Some people have tried to make the argument that you could just rotate the leg at the hip, and I mean the upper thigh. But here's the thing, Black Series is not engineered for that, because some people have tried to pull well, you guys pay X amount of money for imports and they don't all have thigh swivel. The imports are engineered in a way that you actually don't need it, or in a way that it's hidden.
Right.
It's actually not, it's the same thing.
Right.
No. Like, you'll be seeing in the B-roll where some of these modern Black Series figures get articulation at the hip, the little...
Yep.
It is literally the difference between 2% versus 100%. Because, again, with the thigh cut, it was a 100% rotation. 2% versus 100%. What's better?
Right. I like 2%. And let's face facts here. The real reason thigh swivel has been removed from the Black Series is not for the aesthetics. It's not to save the sculpt. This is simply a cost-cutting measure to reduce the piece count of the actual figure itself, because when a figure does have thigh swivel, obviously that joint separation there is two separate pieces that have to be molded on their own, and therefore raise the cost of the figure itself.
Absolutely. Nobody was complaining about the line, because after all, Nate, it's a line. It's a line. It was literally a line. Nobody was complaining about it. And now that they've taken it away, now some people are like, yo, this is the best thing the designers have ever done. I love having less articulation.
Right.
I don't understand it at all. Nobody was complaining about that. And I mean, I literally had never seen complaints about thigh swivel. That doesn't mean that it didn't exist, of course, but there was no campaign to remove thigh swivel. It's simply a lower piece count, because now that thigh is one piece, Whereas where you had that cut, it was 2 pieces. So the less piece count, the more money they save, you know, per unit, per figure, yada yada. It's not about maintaining the aesthetics. It's not about maintaining the sculpt. It's a piece count. And also, rotating the knee is not the answer, because that is just anatomically incorrect to the absolute maximum. Right. Nobody can rotate their knee.
Yeah, if anything, that point of articulation is more unrealistic than thigh swivel.
Right, because at least with your upper leg, you can twist it back and forth. Obviously not 90 degrees, but at your upper thigh, you can move it back and forth to a certain degree, and it moves your entire leg with it when you move your thigh. So like the whole knee rotation thing, and we'll get into how it looks so unnatural, which honestly, speaking of that, Nate, let's just jump behind the camera and show the people.
Let's go.
Kalnaka does not have thigh swivel, unfortunately, and that hip movement is almost non-existent. This is not good, and we really just need to bring that thigh swivel back. I mean, it helps so much with more natural posing, especially with any lightsaber wielding character, and having this movement restricted right here definitely kills some natural looking posability. Obviously you can still get some rotation out of the knee, which it is single jointed, and you do just get a little over 90 with it, and it does swivel here, but that does not replace thigh swivel, because when you pose the leg out now, you're going to have the thigh always facing forward, so that fur is just going to look a little off. It's not going to match up with the sculpt, whereas if you had thigh swivel, you'd be able to rotate this as well and have a much more natural looking pose.
All right, here we are in the review stand. We've got quite a few examples demonstrating the different varying degrees of what we're talking about through our bullet points.
Oh yeah.
Let's start with our most infamous example. Yeah, shall we, Justin?
Let's do it, bro.
Here we have the Imperial Super Commando. This is one of the more recent figures. As you can see, this is actually another example of the vintage collection figure that's coming out soon. Has thigh swivel, but this one that came out first does not. So basically what we're demonstrating here is, you know, if you want to do any kind of natural shooting style pose with his leg to the side, you know, kind of like a side profile shooting pose, you know, the knee just doesn't move. There's no swivel here. Like, this is not a replacement amount of range, especially if you wanted to like, okay, let's get him in a kneeling pose here. Yeah, that's how the human knee works. Yeah. Just like that.
Honestly, this is one of the more infamous examples. We got nothing. Now, everybody and their mother says, have you guys ever considered turning the knee? Brother. What? Like, huh?
That's how human bodies work, bro. Easy peasy.
Brother. Because what I'm basically wanting to do with a trooper figure like this is to get it in that classic, like, side step stance, where he's gonna, like, aim down the sights or something, but it doesn't work because there's no thigh swivel.
Right.
So if you want, I mean, that just doesn't work, man. Because especially, look where the knee armor is in relation to the knee. You need thigh swivel. Again, I just don't understand the logic of, oh my god, what the fuck?
Bro's looking like he's getting put in the rack from Saw 3.
Yep.
Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. Ding, 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 ding. Examples for sure.
But look at Key.
Yeah, Key.
Look at Key. Oh my god.
Yeah, hard to see the
oh
thigh
my
swivel.
god.
There it is.
Look at all that range.
Yo, that's peak.
Yep.
Another pretty bad example is the Ahsoka Sabine figure. You know, not only does she have this horrible bobblehead helmet, but you get pretty much nothing here. And on top of that, she, once again, is similar to the Super Commando, where because her knee armor is glued to her thigh, that these poses, these sidestep poses, start to become very odd looking and strange. And you know, the perfect example is just try and do a kneeling pose. Literally no figure can kneel because now it looks like she's literally broken her leg in a mountain biking incident.
Right. New Cassian, another good example. I mean, look, there's no range because, guys, the hips are not engineered for this.
Right.
It's different with an import, which maybe, grab this Han for comparison. This is the SHF Han.
All right, this is the new Han, so you can see that there is technically no thigh swivel, but look at all that range that you get out of the hip.
Right.
So, yeah, technically no thigh swivel, but we're still getting a ridiculous amount of range from these hips, which is obviously the solution. I feel like, you know, if we're not going to get thigh swivel back, then we just need to work on better engineering with the hips, because we have had some hitters that aren't so bad. Malgus, I think, has an acceptable swivel.
Yeah.
It's not too bad here. You know, is definitely limited, but could be a lot worse. Another bad example, though.
Oh, yeah.
This brand new Cassian figure here. You literally get, again, almost nothing out of this, and it goes inward. So he's going to be hitting the stanky leg if you want to have him, you know, posed with shooting his blaster out, which is just, it's so unfortunate that it looks so unnatural.
And again, just look at the old Scout Trooper body. This is a custom, but it is a Scout Trooper Black Series body. So we have the Scout Trooper legs. Really old stuff, but we got the cut right there. I mean, all the way around, right? Complete 360. We're talking 2% movement versus literally 100%. And that's going to help you so much when you get into those side step poses. Like, I'm pretty sure the classic toy, like, army men are posed that way, like with the feet coming at us vertically and this foot going horizontally.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more natural with thigh swivel. And again, I just don't understand the whole rotate the knee thing. One more time, guys. One more time. How is that the solution?
Looks peak to me.
Yeah, it looks peak, bro. I agree.
Hey, here's another old figure. Look at this. Qui-Gon Jinn. Thigh swivel.
Damn!
He's got better range. It's funny that we're living in an era right now, too, where, like, the upcoming Ezra has reused thighs. And so because of that, he has thigh swivel. So now we're, like, almost championing reuse these days.
Right.
Kalnaka's a more recent bad example, too. You know, with the fur sculpt, it just looks so unnatural. It doesn't line up at all. It just, once again, there's literally nothing here. There's no movement at all. So if you want to have him sidestepping with the saber, there you go. You've got his thigh pointing straight and then his leg defying the laws of anatomy and just... So you can argue that thigh swivel, the removal of it, saves the aesthetic, but I would argue that it only saves the aesthetic if you're doing a straight up vanilla pose. If you're trying to do any sort of dynamic pose or shooting pose or anything like that, then the aesthetic is now ruined by the lack of thigh swivel, because the legs on all of these figures do not look anatomically correct.
Right, right.
And just to show you the power of thigh swivel, here's the brand new Phase 1 Captain Rex, which is peak and has thigh swivel. So like I've been demonstrating throughout this segment, you know, a big negative on the removal of thigh swivel is you can't do natural crouching poses. But look what we can do here with thigh swivel. You can see his thigh go straight forward, the knee follows nice, and it looks like a natural leg, how it should. And then same thing with down here. This looks like how a leg is supposed to lay. You don't have the armor facing right here that's making it look like their leg is broken.
Right. No, this is a great example. We love the new Phase 1 Rex figure. And I mean, again, such good range.
All right, Justin, you tell me
which pose here looks more natural. Went for the same pose, two different figures.
Yeah, you tell me, chat.
What do you think? Do we go Cassian broke his knee? Or do we go with Captain Rex actually looks like a human being with realistic range of motion in their legs?
Yeah, I'm going with the Rex all day, Nate. I'm going with the Rex. I mean, just look at the difference, bro.
Yeah,
Look at the placement of the knee on both of these.
right. And that's
Come on.
thanks to thigh swivel.
Come on, guys. Come on.
Bro, you're telling me the Happy Meal toy? The Happy Meal toy gets the thigh swivel now? They didn't have it before, but now all of a sudden there's room in the budget for it on brand new sculpts?
Come on, Hasbro. What are we doing?
Come on, Hasbro.
Well, Nate, I think the jury is out. I think we need thigh swivel back in the line, bro.
I think we do, and honestly, if we have to kiss it goodbye, though, we need some better engineering in the hips.
Yes, sir. I hope they can do it. I mean, they kind of did it
True?
on the new Ronin figure.
That is true. The new Ronin seemingly does have an improved range in the hips, so we'll have to wait and see. But for now, we just wanted to get our thoughts out there and talk about this issue because it is something that we do feel like is important to mention, and it's just something that didn't need to be removed. It does nothing but hinder a lot of these newer figures when you want to have them in any other pose besides literally just standing straight up. So yeah, those are pretty much our thoughts here on this week's episode of Figure It Out. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're new. We're always talking about Star Wars The Black Series here on the channel. And if you are in a position to help support us out directly, we do offer a couple different channel membership tiers. Check those out in the description down below. And while you're there, check out our Discord.
Please do let us know what you guys are thinking in the comments. I'm thinking this is going to be a hot topic.
That's true. We might have just started another Black Series war with this one, but
Let's do it.
so be it. I'm Nate. I've been joined with Justin.
See you guys later.
And we will see you all next time on Out of the Basement.
And here we have the commando droid.
Do the stanky leg, do the stanky leg, do the stanky leg.